Hey, welcome in everybody. My name is Bob. I'm the Rocket City Reseller, and I want to welcome you to this beginner's guide to Nifty.ai. Been meaning to do this one for a while. A lot of folks have been asking me because we've had a lot of success regarding Nifty.ai to do this video. So we're going to go ahead without further ado and get into the video. So I appreciate you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already liking and subscribing. If you like these kind of tutorial videos, feel free to smash that subscribe, hit the notifications. You're not going to want to miss a thing. All right, let's get into the video. So Nifty.ai, what is it and what can it do for you? So Nifty.ai, as it says here, they do automation, cross-listing, and analytics support. Why that's important for your reselling business. There's a few things that are going to help you. If you're just getting started in just starting Nifty, you're going to want to consider the fact that getting more eyes on your product is always a good thing. If you're starting off with eBay, for example, or Mercari or Poshmark, you're going to want to get another set of eyes on your product. The more doors to a building, the more access people have to that building. If that makes sense, that's a good analogy. So just opening another door into your store would have helped traffic through. That's the idea. So for cross listing, that's basically what you're going to want to do. The automation piece, I can't say enough about this part. This is what makes Nifty so powerful, is that the automation part, we want to make sure that in the background, things are happening while you're not aware or present. A lot of that is cross-listing, or sorry, resharing your closet. For example, with Poshmark, it does all the shares. It's a very social platform, Poshmark. So if you're using that one, being able to share your closet through, being able to follow other like-minded people that are reselling in space, all the things that automation gathers for you, you don't want to be able to get all that stuff done and not have to worry about doing it. It's going to make offers on your behalf, etc. So after 10 minutes of someone liking something, you could set it up to send an offer for a certain percentage off if you want to go that far. That's something we do for our shop, and it's increased our sales so much by having that option available. So that is the power of Nifty, and that's just one example. Poshmark, it also does that for eBay, Mercari, and Etsy's the only one it doesn't, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, why that might be. Cross-listing, can't say enough about cross-listing if you're not doing that. Basically, what you're trying to do is think of it as distribution. You don't ever want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want to make sure you're diversifying across platforms, because if something were to happen with your platform, and we'll get into a little bit of what happened with us in Depop along the journey, and if something happens in that particular stream or that revenue stream and it closes off on you, you want to make sure that you have options so that way your business can continue to grow and also get sales. So can't say enough about that, the automation and cross-listing piece. Analytics, having real-time business intelligence for your business is super important. Data is running the world. And if you're not familiar with me, Rocket City Reseller, I am a software engineer and also data scientist who resells. So I share that information freely. I don't gatekeep. I share what I know and make you guys successful in reselling like we've been for the past 2 years. We've grown this business into a $250,000 business, and we're super proud of that. And well, let's get into the Nifty.ai tools in the pricing structure. So I'm going to pull up another tab here so we can look at some of the pricing and what that means and what that is an offer. So it has two different pieces that make up the whole for this thing. And I can't say enough about the inventory management. At the very least, you should have some sort of inventory management system for your business. And whether that's a spreadsheet and not Nifty.ai, what have you, have something for your inventory control and do an inventory every year. That's super helpful. That is definitely going to help you get your items organized to make sure that you're not having ghost items in your inventory, and that when something does sell, you know where it is. And that's super important, because you can easily lose track of your business if you're not intentional with your inventory. So it's super important, and Nifty.ai has it baked in. It offers at the very minimal the inventory control, and that's super important. It can do up to 1,500 active items under the $35.99 plan. and you get a little bit more if you were to upgrade it. Let's say your store is bigger like ours. We have about 8,100 items in our current inventory, and we sell Plush. If you're wondering, Plush is predominantly what we sell. We do have a few toys as well we sell, but for the most part, so if you get over a certain amount, it's just about 20 bucks extra a month for to unlock that rest of that storage and capability in your inventory. So definitely worth the money. These prices may seem a little extreme at first for those that may be just getting started. I want to just encourage you to go ahead and think about this. I wish I would have listened to this advice myself when I first started. If I could go back and tell my younger self, hey, listen, this is what's going to happen if you do this, I would have totally been on board sooner. By having these tools in place, it's grown our business 3 times fold. And I can't say enough about that and what it's done. It's kept us so super busy regarding all the things, sales, just growing and growth. It's incredible what this program has done for us. Also, some of the insights of being a data scientist also helped along that way too, and also work ethic. I can't say enough about if you're not listing your stuff, regardless of what tool you use, it's not going to help. So you have to be accountable for some of this. And Nifty makes it super easy to be accountable because it's super easy to list your items through it. So there is that for us. The automation part of it is where Nifty kind of wins and where it really has its teeth in place. You're definitely going to want to have Nifty with the full package and automation. But if you just wanted automation and not the other stuff, you could potentially use the automation feature, share closets, share your eBay, do all the things, share Mercari, etc. Do that kind of promotional work for you on your behalf. And it actually started off, Auto-Posture started off in that way. That's what Nifty was. Prior to switching to Nifty.ai, they were called Auto-Posture. And a lot of people were really excited about that and was growing Poshmark accounts incredibly fast. And a lot of people were getting a lot of sales and traction because of that automation feature. But the 1-2 punch of having the cross listing, having the generative AI, having all the tools that Nifty can provide in their main package, along with automation, is where this thing really shines through. And if you have a smaller store, that's $62.99 plus tax. This is not a promotional video, nor am I a salesperson, but we do have an affiliate through there. It's code Rocket City. Will save you 15% off your first month if you're interested in using that code. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to give you information to be able to make an informed business decision so that way you can grow your business. So let's get into some of the features of Nifty.ai for you. Cross listing is super important, and we're not going to just read through some of these. We're just going to kind of highlight the automation features, the analytics, and what it can do. I want to show you in practice what it can do. So let's see if we can get into Nifty.ai. So when you first connect Nifty.ai, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's usually where a lot of folks stumble and maybe misunderstand what's going on. You're going to connect your marketplace streams. For instance, on the screen here, we're seeing. See if I can make this a little bit bigger for y'all. Let's see. Go here. Let's see if we could do this. Okay. That's about as big as we're going to get. See if we can switch some of this around. Make this big. There we go. That's a little bit better. So basically what's going on here is we're going to go ahead and use a Chrome extension, and Nifty works probably best in Chrome because they do have an extension baked in on the development side where you can connect your Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, and Depop, and also Etsy and Whatnot now. So that's exciting that Whatnot is now part of the Nifty.ai family, and it's going to change a lot of people's business because there's a lot of Whatnot resellers out there. We're one included in that, so we're really excited about Whatnot coming along. So you're going to be able to connect all those things to this extension. Basically, you log into your account for all those respective accounts, and then you hit the sign in button, and it's smart enough to know your credentials and save them. They do need to be refreshed every 30 days. Nifty's pretty good about sending an email when that time comes where you can actually get those credentials renewed. If not, you're not going to be able to automate or cross list, and it's going to tell you that you're not doing that because you're not connected, and you have to go back through and set up some stuff when you get those emails, and we'll go over that as well. So this is basically how you connect. Once you connect, there's an option to sync, and we'll get into some of that here in just a second. So we'll run through some of this first. Your account credentials are when you first set up your account. Your subscription is basically the bundle that you're paying for. We pay $89.99 a month. We have the full package, and we're a really big store with a lot of smart credits, which is what's used for the generative AI portion of what this software offers, and also background removal tools and other things. We use really a lot of that stuff, so we pay up for that. And I will say the first 15 days of the month, we had, of January, actually paid for the entire year of Nifty.ai, if you can believe that. That's how well we did in January with sales because of Nifty.ai. So it did pay for itself, and now we are in the profit. So that $89.99 is easy to look over when you have those types of results. Results may vary, but I will guarantee you, if you really put and be intentional, put the time in, be intentional with this thing, it's going to definitely pay for itself. And I'm sure you've heard those stories before from other people using Nifty.ai, which is probably what brought you to this video, likely to be able to get more information about that. So we're definitely winning in regards to all things sales right now. Can't say enough about that. Like I mentioned, we are an affiliate for Nifty.ai. Code Rocket City saves 15%. And what else do we have here? This is your sales section under inventory. So basically, you have to turn this on when you first connect your marketplace. A lot of tutorials that I've seen don't cover this. When you first do that connection, you're going to want to have sales detection turned on. And when your connection breaks, like I said, every 30 days or so, it's going to want your password just for security purposes. By design, it works that way. So once you put your new credentials in, you're reconnected, you want to go back over here to sales detection under inventory. And you're going to want to definitely turn back on your sale detection, because that's the power of Nifty. When you cross list to other platforms, let's say if I sold something on eBay, what it's going to do is it's going to delist those from Poshmark. It's going to delist it from Mercari, Etsy, wherever that may be. And it does that through this sales detection feature. So by not having that on, it can't do its job. So it's our job to make sure that we turn on sales detection. And it gives you the option of not using sales detection. I'm not sure exactly what the workflow would look like potentially for not having sales detection on, but it does give you the option to do that. And also, it also gives you the option to do quantity. So if you're selling multiple items of the same, let's say, flavor, and you want to decrement your inventory by whatever, you can actually turn that on. So we sometimes have 3 or 4 plush that are the same, identical design, everything, and we would quantify that. And as it sells through, Nifty's smart enough to go in and decrement the quantity of the item sold without delisting the item. So that is a very nice feature of Nifty. Shipping presets, I'll just really quickly talk about this. It's outside probably the scope of this beginner video, but you can set up shipping presets to make cross-listing easier. And I've done that here, where I have different weight classes for different items, and I can select when I'm listing those really quickly and really easily. Just know that that feature exists. You can also create custom inventory labels if you want, SKUs of things of that nature. If you want to better classify your inventory. Currently, what we do is we put it in the private notes, which location the item is in. But the better idea would be to do labels for each section of your store. That way you can sort and also run sales based off those labels. So AI generation, you can actually use the custom generation for AI, which we do. If you're interested in what we have for title, description, things of that nature, you can always message me privately or leave a comment in the video, and we'll be able to send you a template that you can use to maybe help you generate more sales, by having the correct SEO rated title. And I use right now I'm using ChatGPT, but you could use Claude or any of the other AI tools to create a brand template that will drive sales for you. It's all about prompting now. If you're not sure what I mean by that, go ahead and message me for the template, and you can just copy and paste it in this section under AI generation, custom instructions, and we'll get you up and running, no problem. Danger zone is just that. Don't touch it unless you really have to. The only time you ever want to come in here is, let's say, if for us, I'll give you a really real-time use case over the holidays, this past fourth quarter. We lost our Depop account, not by any nefarious means, but by not paying attention to the rules of the road in regards to Depop. You're not allowed to, sorry guys, you're not allowed to make any changes or edits or get things of that nature for things like baby items. So like loveys and also battery operated items. They don't allow certain things on Depop, and we weren't paying close enough attention to that. They were emailing us telling us that we're not allowed to do that, but we kept on doing it. Long story short, lost our account over at. So probably could have argued and got it back because we were so new to it, but decided to just keep it moving. But the point of that was to say that you can reset your inventory and get rid of Depop as a whole instead of going through every listing and delisting everything. You just go ahead and drop the platform itself, and you can reset your inventory by doing that. So just know that that feature exists, and there's also a partner feature we're not going to go over in this video, but we'll go back to the home. They made a lot of changes recently to Nifty.ai, and we'll talk about those changes after this break. All right, y'all, we are back from the break, and let's talk about what those changes were to Nifty and how they are important and how they affect you. So basically now there is a home screen. There didn't used to be a home screen. It was just the inventory, analytics, automation, and the automated auto, which is their help feature, their agent that's available for you to use. And the home screen is basically gives you kind of a like snapshot into your business intelligence. Tells you how many times Nifty is sharing your product, relisting it, making offers, following other closets, how many items you have listed, how many items you have sold. And I've done a terrible job today because I was actually bringing my wife to the airport and did not work today. So that's the power of reselling. Something that gives you the flexibility to do things. But tonight, we'll go ahead and get some of this done and get some listings up, etc. So, but it tells you your revenue, profit, etc. So in this case, things that need attention, it gives you a little bit of an idea what's going on. It's telling me to reconnect my Depop. It doesn't know, it's not smart enough for some reason to know that we no longer sell on Depop. So likely a feature that needs to be explained to the developers so that they can get in front of that. A lot of this is happening in real time, and the development cycle is pretty robust in regards to what they're doing. So it might just be a feature that they missed. But currently not selling on Depop, so we'll go ahead and ignore that one. Some of the recent sales were not auto-delisted. So what happened was eBay, at the time of this filming of this video, it is currently May 6th. And a couple days ago, actually almost a week ago now, I believe, eBay was attacked with a denial of service attack and basically took down their servers and stuff. So during that time, when something sold, it could not be delisted from eBay because their sites were down. Not a Nifty problem, right? But an eBay problem. So, but Nifty's smart enough to know that, hey, listen, something happened. Your item didn't get delisted. Let me send you an email and also remind you on your dashboard that did it delist correctly. So that's a really nice feature. One that I did not see when I was using Vendu. And there's a whole nother conversation on Vendu and what our experience was with that, and I'll leave it there. But so that does exist, that the fact that it didn't delist and it wasn't Nifty's fault. They work in partnership with the marketplaces. They do a pretty good job in communicating back and forth. Very robust, very informative. I'm very happy with the communication when things are not right. So I will say that that's a huge part of reselling for me is transparency, and they do it well. So whenever there's a duplicate listing, when you sync, and we'll go over some of that here in a second. I actually did oversync just recently, and there are their AI agent basically will go through similar items and see, is this a duplicate? So is this not a duplicate? And when you first sync your closet, it's going to give you the option to do that. It's going to say, they call it merge. So we'll cover that as well. And also that there wasn't a sync, and I actually just ran a full sync. So actually, no, I'm sorry, no, I did not run a full sync because of Depop's connection. They're still saying it as an active connection. It will not allow me to do a full sync. So that is a current issue with Nifty.ai, something to be aware of. But you can do a quick sync, which is just as good. The only time you want to do a full sync is when you're adding another marketplace to your inventory control. Let's say if you were only on eBay and Poshmark and you wanted to add Depop, you would do a full sync, not a quick sync. So I don't want to get too far into the advanced features, but there's a lot that goes into this, and this is a beginner's video. So we'll go ahead and skip that for now. I'll be doing more advanced videos as time goes by. And some of the features that recently changed on Nifty. So last month, let's see if we can get some of these. They introduced the label filter option. So now you can filter your closet or your inventory by labels, which is really nice. So if you have a custom SKU and you wanted to see a certain section, you could do a filter based off that. And they also have an AI preset section. So when it does the AI generation, it could kind of guesstimate what the weight might be and use your preset selection to choose it for you, which is kind of interesting feature. I haven't seen it really used in a way that kind of moves the needle for me personally, but I also haven't really played with it either. So just know that that feature is now available. Then auto edits, basically the auto is their agent, their AI agent, where you can ask questions. Apparently here you could update your item titles, descriptions, and conditions with their agent. I'm okay with doing it myself right now. It's too new of a feature. Whenever there's new features like that, I always grain of salt, like I take it as they come. I don't adopt change right away. I have to test because it's the nature of what I do. Like I said, I am a software engineer, so I'll go ahead and dig deeper into that before I advertise that as a feature that's worth its salt. I'm always like a good, bad, and indifferent type when I do these videos. I'm very transparent what it can do and what it cannot do. So, but just know that that's apparently a feature that's available. I just have not played with it yet. This month, the biggest update that Nifty had right now is a new marketplace called Whatnot. And if you're not familiar with Whatnot, it is a live auction platform where you can resell items on an auction style live. And it also has a marketplace feature, and that's what I'm currently using. The marketplace feature to be able to sell stuff. I will say the first day of cross listing to Whatnot, I did get one sale right away. So I was really impressed with that. It's not the first time I've cross listed to Whatnot. I did it when I was with Vendu, and it seemed to work out well. There was issues with connection in the back end, which is part of the reason why I left Vendu. And again, that's for another video. All right, so that's kind of the home screen in a nutshell. We're going to get into some of these other tabs, and then we'll talk about each one individually in depth. And we'll go ahead and start with the inventory portion. And we're just going to cover some of the basics for inventory. So we'll just give this a minute to load. All right, so like I said, if you notice here in the upper left-hand corner, we have about 8,100 items, almost 8,200 items listed and listed across different categories that you're thinking, Bob, that's a whole heck of a lot of items. And you wouldn't be wrong, my friend. We are what we call a volume store. We try to keep our prices pretty reasonable, and we try not to get too crazy. I don't think there is an item in our store currently that's over $200. So we are anywhere from a $15 to $200 store. That's just our business model. It doesn't work for everybody, and there's no wrong or right answer. if you hear differently, obviously, you're trying to look for good items that you can get at a low cost and highest dollar sold. We do that as well, but we also do these smaller items we call bread and butter items. Basically, these are the ones that you sell a large quantity of them that keep the lights on. So that's our business model, and it's been working well. Like I said in the intro of this video, we are a six-figure business, and really proud of the success we've had with this model. So it doesn't work for everybody. If you have the time, patience, and the space, you too could use this model to move the needle. And I don't take full credit for this model. I actually got this idea from Gary Vee when I first started reselling. He was comping teddy bears in the middle of a street and was showing 25-cent or purchase and saying that they were worth $40. I was like, surely this guy's crazy. This can't be the way. But obviously, almost 4 years later, here we are having this conversation that it is in fact true. So I'll just leave it there, but just know that that is our business model, and that's how we do it. So inventory, basically this gives you all of your items in regards to where they are on the platform. eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Etsy, and whatnot is currently what we're using. Not everything can go on Etsy. Not everything is vintage. It's a vintage and craft supply type of platform. We do quite the business though on Etsy. I would say it's probably almost par with eBay at this point, if you can believe that. I don't know if that's just eBay taking a licking this last couple months, but Etsy's really shown up for us as a dark horse. I can't say enough about that. All right, so that's inventory. And in the inventory, you have a few different tabs on top here. You have your solds you can go to. And right now, we started last May, so we're almost a year in to using the software, May 15th. So just in a few short days, we'll have a year on Nifty. And we've done about 3,000 items sold in that time. Is that a lot? Is that not a lot? I don't have any frame of reference. Like I said, we do sell a lot, and a lot of times it's fourth quarter where we sell those. Right now we have a draft bank, which is the next tab over. So what this means is we do all of our listings through Nifty. We don't start at eBay. We don't start in Mercari. We don't start on Poshmark. We do everything straight from Nifty. We create our listings. We take our photographs. So my wife takes photographs. She takes those items. She bulk imports them to Nifty, and has a bulk generate feature on here where she pushes all the pictures to it, and then there's a button you hit generate, and AI does its thing and puts a description in here. Is it always 100% accurate? No. With the AI, you should check. A lot of times, I would say probably 80 to 90% accuracy is what I'm seeing. Maybe even higher than that. It could be being too cautious, but it gets pretty close regarding some stuff. Will it tell you the prices of the items that you should sell them at? No. You still have to do your research and comping. Right now, there is no real AI solution that I've seen that could tell you what you should list your items for. You have to do a little bit of research in regards to that, which is outside the scope of this video. But just know that that's still part of the thing. You have to decide what you want to sell your item for, what it sells through at, what it's been listed for, what it sells through. There's an entire workflow regarding what that looks like. But just know that some of the features here is what we're talking about. Under more, you could basically look at what items you've delisted. If you have duplicate items or unverified items, it would all be listed here. And a lot of times when you first cross over your closet, you potentially could have unverified items. Basically, you have to go through, and if there are similar items, you have to go ahead and tell the AI agent that they're not duplicate items, that they're items that are unique to the store. That way they can put a unique ID to them and create an inventory control system that is masterful and purposeful. So the next tab over here is analytics. I'm getting too much into the analytics I do a lot of this stuff off Nifty because, again, I am a data scientist. I do my own predictive analytics and also insights and things of that nature on my own. I have the privilege of doing that, but just know that that does exist here. Ours is not going to give you the full picture of our business because we have booths and other things outside of this, but this is just gives you kind of the ability to slice this thing through. And again, this is not our full picture of our business, but I always open the books anyway. Um, so this is just Nifty. Again, this is not everything, but this is just a small snapshot of April. $7,369.10 over the course of 30 days. Units listed 366, sold 226. So of those items, 61% sell-through rate for Plush. Okay, I'll leave it there. So just know that the sell-through rate for Plush a lot of times a lot lower than that. So just gives you this kind of the scope of what we're doing here, and how that insider, we'll call it insider baseball for lack of a better word, of my ability as a data scientist to be able to kind of see trend and do those things. So if you like that type of thing, remember to subscribe and like to this video, where I share that type of information always with you guys. And like I said, look at Etsy. So eBay was 3.4 thousand, and Etsy 2.7. So Etsy, we sold 62 items, looks like. In eBay, we sold 111 items. So we sold more on eBay, but made less because the price, or the average sale price, is higher on Etsy. And Etsy really shown up. It really is a labor of love, though. It took a lot of curation, a lot of watering that garden to get it to this point. So it's just not, you're not going to go out the gate with Etsy and be successful like this. You have to put a lot of work into it. Just know that. So there is that. So that's some of the insights and analytics. There's profit and loss and all that stuff. And like I said, I don't put all our expenses in. I don't put any of our expenses in here. I do it in another way. So just know that, that is an option. It also gives you your orders and tracks your, your sale price, your fees, etc. Whether you refunded somebody or not, you can manually edit this. It doesn't always put in your shipping costs in here, but you can manually edit that for each sale so you can count better for your shipping. So if you did this properly, you could use this for everything in your business. You make sure you put all your shipping, cost of goods, and other expenses in here. And what that's going to do for you is that's going to build a profit and loss statement, which then you could either use a Schedule C program, something like my Reseller Genie, or potentially just print that and take it to your CPA so that it can better get insight into your business. So know that those tools are worth their weight in gold if you use them and use them properly. So just know that those tools are available to you. And if you're new, you should be definitely taking advantage of Nifty.ai for everything that it can do for your business for the low cost of $69.99, I think it was. It's part-time, almost like a full-time helper in the background. Look at these numbers that it's pushing out throughout the day. It already has almost 5,000 shares in 800 community shares, 52 relists. That's just on Poshmark. And then it sent out 28 offers, which 3 of them led to sales today. So just know that I do know for sure because I'm the one that accepted them. So new followers, we have, what else do we have here? eBay, we had 26 offers that were sent. 100 recreates is currently the max limit for eBay. There is probably a policy that says if you get that many more, they might flag your account for botting. We don't want that. But you can go into eBay, or sorry, your inventory control, and manually delist and relist items and then sell similar. You might recall hearing that before. There's a process and procedures that you can do inside Nifty to do that same workflow. So if that's something that's been holding you back from trying Nifty.ai, know that you can do that as well here. It just looks a little bit different within Nifty instead of using eBay proper. So you can still do that as well. Mercari, we have 8 offers that were sent. Again, 100 relists. I believe we're at the capacity what we can relist there. So we're just about near the end of the day. Depop, obviously, we don't use that. History gives you a history of your delists, relists. If there's a problem, you're going to see it in your history. And at first, I would recommend going through your history maybe every other day just to make sure you're not missing anything. Also, keep an eye on your emails. If you're not really good about checking your email, you're going to want to be better about that because you're going to get alerts if there is a problem with Nifty.ai. It's hard to get mad at a software that tells you that there's an issue, but you missed it because you're not as locked in as you should be with your business. So that wouldn't be a Nifty.ai problem, right? So just keep that in mind. Ask Auto. I don't normally use this a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you. I use agents and AI stuff all the time at work. And I've even created large language modeling and all that stuff. Like I said, data scientist. There's a lot of features in here that potentially can help. And I did use this probably last week. Like I said, I don't use it a whole lot to try to figure out the whole Depop situation to see if I can get it to be removed. And I think it's a development issue. I don't think it's necessarily a setting that needs to be ticked from what I can see, what research I've done through asking Auto here about that. So I need to open up a support ticket to see, or at least to make them aware that, that's going on. So I try to work in partnership with Nifty. I don't know if they realize what type of user I am yet. But I have told them a few times that, that there are issues, and they've been really responsive and actually led to a lot of correction. So maybe they do understand what that means. So, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's basically it. We're going to keep this one pretty short for a basic intro, or at least a beginner's guide to Nifty. We're going to show you probably the power of listing on Nifty. So we'll go back to inventory so you can see maybe the workflow of what that might look like. We're going to start with a draft. So let's go to drafts. We have a Paddington bear that needs to be listed. Paddington bear, plush, 10 inches, red animal. So these little dots over here, if you can see them on my screen, they're like a little hamburger menu. I'll left click on that. Edit draft. All right, here's the Paddington. So if you left click on the Paddington and use your scroll wheel, you can make the picture a little bit bigger, kind of center him off. That's what I do. So I just kind of fiddle with the picture a little bit because I'm a perfectionist. I like a good quality picture and a good quality item. I think that's really what sells an item, quite honestly. A photograph is worth 1,000 words, right? This is going to be Eden. So miss that because the tag was folded over. Okay. So it didn't recognize that it was Eden teddy bear. So let's go ahead and we're going to do something kind of off script. We're going to go to, if you go to your Windows search bar and type in snipping tool. Let's see. All right, let's bring this over here. So you can't see it on screen because I'm just sharing my Chrome window, but there's a snipping tool in there. And I'm going to take a picture of this. Kind of can't see me doing it, but we're going to go over here to Google search. We're going to upload a file. We'll go to our pictures, screenshots. Let's see. There he is. Let's see if this thing can figure out vintage Sears Paddington bear. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not Eden. It's Sears. So these are the ones that probably not the best example for this video, but I want to show you what cross-listing looks like anyways. I can always change it later to make sure, but let's go back to Nifty. So what did we see for prices while we're in here? What's it looking like? So there's one here, vintage 1997. This is pretty similar to the one we have on Etsy. It's about 30 bucks. They're saying it's a rare find. We'll be the judge of that. Vintage, we'll go ahead and copy this. Let's see if we can get into eBay from here. I don't know if I've ever logged into eBay from this account, this computer. see what we got. I don't know if I'm necessarily logged in, but I don't think it matters either. All right. So what did I do? I went to ebay.com. All right. So I kind of went fast there. So let me backtrack. And we'll go back to the beginning. So on ebay.com, near the search feature, there's an advanced little, I don't know, link, I guess. And then you just enter your keyword here. So I copied it, vintage 1997 Paddington Bear Plush. And what you want to do is you don't want to just hit search. You want to include your sold and completed. Make sure that's checked. And let's see what we can find. We'll do a search. Not quite. Maybe. Let's go back to the picture. I've already forgotten. No, he's more of a Christmas vibe. He's got a little Christmas tree in his hand. So let's see. Let's add some keywords here. Christmas. Let's see what we can find. There he is. He's a little bit better. Looks like this one sold for $14.99. I can guarantee you, all right, even though eBay, there was a listing there for $14.99. If I were to list this on Etsy, I can get at least $30, maybe $40 on Etsy. Just from experience from 4 years of doing this. I know that I can get that. So just know that each marketplace has its own like way forward with that. So let's see if this thing will let me sign in. Yeah, I'm in. All right, so why I'm signing in. Okay, so in the eBay, a lot of people don't know this that are new. So under your seller hub, so and if you want to get to your seller hub, it's ebay.com/sh. A lot of times when you're first logging into eBay, you don't log in through the seller hub. You kind of have to like dig for it a little bit. But once you kind of get in there and do it, kind of defaults there. So under seller hub, there's a lot of tabs here. And let's go to research. This is the point of me logging in. We're going to show you a different way to check. So under research, this used to be called TerraPeak. It may still be. We're going to go ahead and paste this in and see. Do search. And this is searching for the last 3 years. So, okay. According to this, only one's sold in the last 3 years. Now, keyword, right? Let's try holiday Paddington Bear. Let's get rid of all this other stuff with ornament, 16-inch. Let's try one more time. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now we're getting a kind of a, like there was a spike, right? In 2024, looks like the top price was $25 for one of these. So what can we get now for it? How many are listed? All the questions, right? So you got to kind of use your better judgment. I think 15 is too low for this guy. I know I can get more. So that was the point of this conversation. But I just wanted to show you kind of like the thought process and the tools and what that might look like. So we'll go ahead and save that. Paddington Bear 10-inch. Yep, looks like everything's good. Description, it puts it in here, kind of fluffs it up. It kind of like makes it classy a little bit. Goes into the size. 10 inches is actually not the size of this bear, so I think that's part of the problem. This thing's well into 14 inches. All right, let's get rid of some of that. I would say excellent. Nothing's excellent. Everything's pre-owned. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. Change this to good. So this is the form, right? Let's talk about it. The form for drafts is basically the same that form for listing through inventory as well. It kind of just goes through your marketplaces, your photos. So you would, if you were doing this manually, you would just go ahead and click on each one of these, add the photos in, and then there's a button over here for generate. You would generate the picture, or sorry, generate the descriptions. It would automatically connect to their generative AI tool and be able to kind of populate things for you. You would just want to double check that the wording and what it's saying in the listing is actually matching the item, because the last thing you want is an item description issue. So Just know that. In here, I know that we can get at least $30 for this guy. So I'm at $29.99. My cost of goods, I always average it. We buy these items at weight. And if I had $2 into this guy, I'd be surprised, quite honestly. But we're going to go round up to 3 and shipping preset. Now, this is one of those things when you're taking your photos, I suggest taking a picture of the scale of the item while you're photographing. Make it part of your workflow. That way you can be as accurate as you can. I'm going to use a rough estimate, a guesstimate in this case, because I'm listing on Etsy. I'm going to go to a pound. Now, hear me out. It's because international shipping is unlocked. I want to be sure, and I know this guy's probably like 12 to 15 ounces. If I were to go get them and weigh them, I probably could prove myself right, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to kind of guess up a little bit just because I want to, again, put international shipping on the scene for Etsy. We're going to go through some of these other marketplace tabs. And what we're looking for is completion of all these little tabs. It does a really good job at putting in the color. This is where you would put your inventory labels if you wanted to. Your preset, again, this is where presets come in. I have all my presets set up like we talked about earlier. And then Poshmark, it kind of already sets it up because we use the draft of generative AI and it worked through all this stuff for us. So if you want more information on how to complete a listing, I did do another video, how to list on Nifty.ai like a pro. I'll go ahead and put a card here. So that way you guys can go back to that video as reference and see a little bit more of the workflow regarding listing. And then eBay, I don't really use categories per se. I do have a few have other in Disney, but you could set that up in your eBay storefront. So just know that. And it kind of does a good job of putting your shipping profiles. And that's one of the things about beginning on this. In order to use Nifty.ai, you actually have to have a shipping profile set up on your eBay account. That is done before you can use Nifty.ai. So if you're getting like, hey, why can't this thing figure out what my shipping is, what's going on? Go back to your eBay store, go to your shipping profiles and make sure you have a shipping profile dedicated to your storefront. And then, and only then, will you be able to get this thing to work properly. So that's a quick tip. All right, so Mercari is squabbling over the weight, which is what Mercari always does. They're always offering discounts and things of that nature. So it must be hard to develop for that because it's a moving target. In this case, we're going to select USPS Ground Advantage. It's the cheapest option for the buyer. So that go ahead and checks the box over here on the left. You notice? So right now Depop is grayed out. We're not using that. Etsy, let's see what Etsy's saying. All right, Etsy's saying that this is before 2007 vintage. I would even go to as far to say this is probably 90s. Either that or early 2000s likely. Ready to ship. So this gives you your processing profile, how many days it takes you to process and ship. We do the 1 to 3 day. Ship Tough is the name of my profile on Etsy. Again, you have to set up your shipping profiles on your platform before coming to Nifty.ai. We do no returns policy on Etsy, and you can set those policies in the storefront. 1 pound, and then the price is $29.99. It does a good job of primary, secondary colors. Looks like we're good to go. The only thing that it did not do is create a whatnot. So basically there's this little plus here. So I'll go ahead and, because these were drafted before whatnot was a thing inside Nifty, I have to go through and manually hit that plus button, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. But as I draft new items, whatnot will be included in there. I don't want it to plus anymore. So we'll go ahead and check through the categories, toys and hobbies. And we're going to select, let's see, it would be a vintage toy. So there's an option for that. That's great. And we're going to go ahead and list. I think we're ready to list. Everything's checked off. all the little boxes. This is what's good about using the generative AI portion of Nifty. You don't have to really worry about like all this. It does all the form filling for you, which is really nice. It takes a smart credit. Now, if we recall from the pricing structure, basic lower end store gets about 500 credits. I think over 1,500 listings, you can get up to 1,000 credits for an additional $20. If you happen to get through your credits, how that's worked in the past for us, I believe it was $5 for another 500 credits. It's been a while since I've had to purchase credits, but it is an option to purchase more smart credits if you're in the process of moving over a really big store. So don't be afraid of the cost of credits. It's pretty reasonable, I think. Um, like I said, it's going to pay for itself. So now that we have all that done, we're going to go ahead and list the item. Let's see what it does. Now we were a little slower because we're doing the kind of walkthrough with this, but as you can imagine, the more you get used to this, the faster it is. Okay, so now it's outside of drafts. We'll go back to our listed. And there it is. Paddington Bear, Plush. Now, is it Sears? Probably. It's probably not Eden. They're very similar, the tags, now that I'm thinking about it. So it's likely Sears. Do I want to add Sears Paddington Bear because it's vintage? Maybe. Maybe I'll go back later and fix it. But that's definitely going to drive the price and make it worth $30 all day long. So in my opinion, I think I've gotten 45 for these in the past. So we have sold that type of toy before. And that's just experience. You get that over time. So that's kind of it, right? We talked about a lot of things. We went over just about every function or button here. And I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. I don't think I've missed anything. There was a lot of information in this video. So I want you to feel free to come back to this. Think of this as a dictionary. You don't need to read the dictionary. You need to know where the dictionary is, and you can go back and look at it as reference later. So feel free to use that as you will. Come back to this video when you need to. Be making more videos as things change, and they're doing a lot of development work. Really excited about all the marketplaces that they're adding in to Nifty.ai. It's going to be super, super exciting to see how that changes and develops over time. And I think what likely to happen is maybe we're going to see things like Facebook Marketplace potentially, or even something like Shopify. Shopify would change the game right there for a lot of people that are doing this on other things like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, having their own traditional shops through those marketplaces, having a Shopify connection to that through this tool. You can then cross-list to all the different platforms and even have your own stuff on Facebook and just drive sales even more. So the potential of Nifty.ai is tremendous. So be on the lookout for those changes. I guarantee they're coming. All right, so that's a lot for this video. We'll go ahead and pause there. I want to thank you for coming in. Again, my name is Bob. I'm the Rocket City Reseller. I am the data scientist who resells. And if you like this content, remember, go ahead and smash the subscribe and like. And I appreciate you guys. Remember, if you can't be good at it. We'll catch you on the next one.